We're shooting this video because it is one of the most requested videos that we've been asked to explore.
Of recent.
The flagship models from two flagship brands, Kawai, Yamaha. In the digital world, their flagship digital piano, the CA901 from Kawai, the CLP-785 from Yamaha. Let's take a listen. Let's talk about the differences and which one might be better and which one might be right for you.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate the support. We love to interact with you. Well, we were going to start this one off with a piano fact. If you haven't seen our videos before, we do like to start them with piano facts. That's something recently that we've decided, hey, every video should have something neat and entertaining about the piano.
Absolutely.
And so, we were talking about, looking at the beginning. If we're talking about history and piano facts, looking back at arguably, one of the godfathers of music, right? Bach.
Right.
And we were talking about, Bach is probably one of, if not the most played composer,
here's
right?
The thing. I've had so many adults in this store, let alone wherever you go in Left State. I always wanted to be able to play at least the first two or three of the Goldberg variations because of Glenn Gould's album.
Mm-hmm.
And they love Bach music and they listen to Bach all the time. And it's like, well, that's pretty neat because, Bach never really got the chance to dig into the piano very much.
Well, not only that, he never wrote a piece for the piano.
I don't think he ever owned one.
Never owned one. He did get the chance to play a piano, but most of the music that he wrote predates the piano as being an instrument to enjoy. And so, he did get to play a piano later in his life. It was
Silberman.
Silberman.
One of the very, very early pianos. I don't even think the piano action as we have it today with escapement and all that was even active.
Oh, no. It was kind of like the raw form of a piano coming out of the mud. But it was. He said, what did he say about it? He said it sounded excellent. Bach says the piano sounds excellent.
Didn't like the treble.
He didn't like the treble. It wasn't clear enough for him. But the
action was too heavy.
And so, be picky about your actions. That's kind of why we're talking about these two flagship pianos here today. When you're looking at digital pianos, the most important thing is how does it feel? And then how can you change the response of a piece that you're playing? So how does it feel, and then transpose to how does it sound? But it really starts at your fingertips, right?
It really does, but the idea of playing Bach on a piano is harder than Bach could ever imagine. It was hard enough to play his music on a harpsichord, which has a featherlight feel. Mm-hmm. And again, the only way to really show expression on a harpsichord was to play a lot of notes.
Yeah.
And so, because there's no loud and soft, I can do this one soft, and they all come out almost the same volume, no matter how you slow it down. So if you play a lot of notes, it sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
And if you play long, slow passages, well, then it's kind of thin and boring on a harpsichord. So it's between there is where the compositions are made. On a piano, there's so many more things you can do. So many different ways to play a note, loud and soft, and how you can pedal it. And the fingering that has come up on the harpsichord applied to piano is a lot more physical requirement. It's kind of like practicing all of your, all of your gymnastic moves in the pool, and then you go and really do it on the balance beam.
Yeah.
It's a different thing because the gravity's different. Everything is different from harpsichord to piano. And I think Bach would really have to practice piano a lot to become a pianist.
So,
Bach never was a pianist. That's hard for a lot of piano players to think about because his music is so hard, but he was a harpsichordist and an organist.
So, with that string of thought, which action would he have preferred in the CLP-785 or the CA901?
I would say he would probably go for the 785, the Yamaha CLP-785. It's a tad bit lighter, and it seems to be just a touch more responsive with less input.
So on the CLP-785, they do have the Grand Touch. That is, their top of the line piano action on their digital Clavinova series. when you move up to their hybrid series that you start getting a full piano action in there. So the CLP-785 does have the Grand Touch. The Kawai CA901 that we're looking at today has the Grand Feel 3. And so the Grand Feel 3, I believe, has a slightly longer key and counterweights. Both these actions have counterweights, but really this is like, we're trying to create our best action between the two of these instruments, and they both pride themselves in making fantastic products.
Right, now these actions are the top of the line at their digitals, because the next actions and the next digital pianos that both manufacturers make in the increased line involves real piano actions instead of an invented digital piano action, which they can do more affordably and more efficiently. But when you go to the top of the line units, they actually put working units in there of true piano actions.
When you play both these instruments, the action is going to feel great. I would say it's a player's choice at that point.
It really is a player's choice. They're both so proficient and so
I think it's interesting that you've compared it before, like the CA series. When you move up to the CA701 and 901, you get this action, the Grand Feel 3. But it feels like the most perfect broken-in piano that you've ever played.
It does.
And then on the Yamaha stuff, you've compared, their higher-end action, the Grand Touch, to almost like a brand new piano that never fully breaks and it kind of stays there. And those are just interesting comparisons because since you've told me that, I do feel it, I see it, and it's just one of those things where it's like, do you enjoy like really getting in and having an on and off feel, or kind of like a more flowy, like this plays exactly how I want it to. That's one kind of our interpretation of these two actions. When you move to the sound sample on both of these instruments, you get the top of the line, of course, but CFX, Bosendorfer on the Yamaha side. On the Kawai side, you get their SKEX from Shigeru Kawai. They have two different, now it's a brand new thing, but they have the competition grand modeling, and they also have the concert modeling of the SKEX. So two different kind of interpretations of that SKEX. Of course, it has their different renderings on it too. So they kind of lean a little bit heavier into, I would say, the modeling community, and kind of, we've talked about this before, but those VSTs, like these virtual instruments that a lot of people will spend a good amount of money and time kind of tuning into these great piano samples that you can buy online and control with a MIDI controller. I say Kawai is leaning that direction and offering it in their flagship models, and in a lot of their models they say, hey, we want you to be able to be a technician, and they've changed that to it was before the virtual technician app, and you were able to go through and change parameters. Now it's just called the virtual artisan app, and so the artisan allows you to change resonance control of the overall body of the instrument, to the string resonance, to the soundboard. Yeah, and you're able to kind of change up to 21 parameters on it, kind of giving you the keys to changing their top of their line sample. So that is the SK rendering, both on the competition one, which is recorded as if you were the player. So if you were sitting there, it's going to be mic'd in that direction. If you play their the kind of their more classic concert grand, the SKEX, that's mic'd up kind of traditionally like a piano. So, multiple microphones on the soundboard, underneath the piano, in the room. That's kind of mic'd like you would in a recording studio.
I will say that competition grand piano sample, I can't say there's one of those specifically that I like, but in terms of a piano sample and all the different, whatever they changed on each one, because they have like 8 different competition grands.
Yeah, well, they have the different kind of renderings of each of them.
Renderings
presets.
Of them is that is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the absolute best piano samples I've ever played on any digital instrument before. It is,
and that's brand new. That's in the last 6 months. That's something that they've just put in these 901s.
It's a great sample. It's fun to play, and it's almost it's just remarkably believable when you play it. And I don't know how much of that I attribute to the soundboard, because that sound is a little bit different on the other model. But I believe that the way that thing sounded in here was just really incredible.
And of course, the Yamaha has the CFX sampled their 9-foot concert grand from Yamaha. It's their premium level grand CFX, and they also have their Bosendorfer Imperial, because Yamaha and Bosendorfer are the same company now. They also have the technology from the player perspective, but they did it a little bit differently. They have it as a binaural sample in your headphones. So it's not something that you would switch to a different sample on the piano. You would actually just
plug in headphones
and enjoy that through
now,
through a headphone.
I will
sample.
say this about the Bosendorfer sample. On the CLP models, it's only in the top 2 models, the 785 and the 775, that I actually do like the Bosendorfer sample.
Is it because of the sound system changes?
It's because of the sound system changes. On the smaller models, they just don't do any justice to that sample at all. And for all comparative purposes, the CFX as well. Some of those sound boxes are just a little bit too small to give any kind of sense of trueness. But on the upper model, and certainly on the 785, the Bosendorfer sample is truly enjoyable. Whereas on some of the other ones, it's nothing particularly special.
And I think it's important to note too, when looking at these 2 models, I anticipate 785 to be pushed out for a new model in the next couple years, just because to me it's been around 4 or 5 years now.
Right.
And the CA901 was just announced and just released from Kawai, whereas the 99 had been in place for about 3 years.
It's time to retaliate.
And so, yeah, I mean, and you look at it that, these 2 companies will price these exactly the same. That's how competitive they are. It's $63.99, $99 for each of them. So you're looking at, $6,400. And they're both pouring in all their research and development. This is the best product that we make in our lines, the Concert Artist Series or the Clavinova CLP Series. This is the best we can do. And they stamp their logo on it.
And it's funny because almost every one of their products, it's almost like they read one another's spec sheet and price sheet, because they're almost identically head-to-head against each other.
Yeah.
And some products are just specifically matched.
And so you're going to expect all the features that come with that. You're able to record. There's Bluetooth audio, Bluetooth MIDI on both of these. There is tons of voices. It's funny because Yamaha will say that, hey, we do, they have voices and they have those the XG voices, which are like kind of their spottier voices.
I didn't even get into any.
No, yeah.
I just stayed more with the premier
there's
stuff.
There's 500 extra voices, but really like the ones that you focus on, there's about 90 something in the Kawai and about 53 in the...
It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality.
Exactly. And so we're going to listen to the samples here because to us, it's important to have great piano sounds. It's really important to have great electric piano sounds, organ, some of the string. Those are the most common, the ones that you see a lot of the time. One of the biggest differences is the soundboard. You alluded to it earlier, but the soundboard that is on the CA901, they do incorporate kind of hybrid technology where you're getting they call it a twin drive, so 2 transducers on a piece of spruce on the soundboard that kind of amplify, or just they kind of change the sound properties of a digital because it's kind of being returned to you on a wooden surface.
Well, yeah, instead of feeling those low notes with all that bass resonance like you normally get on an electric piano or on a digital piano. With a big amplifier, it's louder than a concert grand, and it's pushing more air in frequencies that pianos don't. And when you push that same frequency through a soundboard, it reacts exactly like a soundboard does. So the piano sounds more like and responds like a real piano instead of giving you like a great electric bass sound coming out of an acoustic piano sound. And the volume is more balanced.
It's to me it's like the push. We were talking about this earlier, but a lot of people like to listen to vinyl nowadays versus an MP3 or a WAV file that they're streaming because there's a medium that it's being put through that I feel like a lot of people were comfortable with on vinyl. Film is the same way.
Film to video, and then every morning I go through this. I mean, there's analog and digital coffee. Okay, the analog is the pot that I brew, and the digital are the Red Bulls that they're coming in with, or the other kind of monster drinks. I call that digital coffee.
And so, like the more with pianos, it's the digital piano, the acoustic piano. They get closer and closer every year. We're able to kind of see that. This is almost an acoustic instrument, but it will never really be there. But incorporating something like a soundboard gets you one step closer because
it really does.
Because you are hearing it kind of as intended off of a large piece of spruce that is carrying your frequency range of a piano.
We should listen to those acoustic piano sounds.
Let's take a listen to it. We will listen to the 901 and we will listen to the CLP-785.
Well, Patrick, I'm sure you noticed that the Kawai has the advantage of displaying its piano sound two different ways. We had it through the soundboard and then direct, where the CLP-785 on the Yamaha was just ran in direct.
Yeah, and you know, I think again the coolest part is being able to utilize that soundboard, and we've even done experiments here at the store where we run audio into these type of instruments that have the soundboard, because this technology is also, you can see it on their RS line from Kawai or the ATX line from Kawai. That is their full acoustic instrument. So like a full acoustic upright, but it has digital technology, and it uses the soundboard of that upright piano as a speaker system for, you know, electric pianos or organs that can be played via the MIDI control. If you haven't seen that, please watch one of our videos. The K500 RS is one we did recently. K300 RS, AURES.
I'm expecting Yamaha to come out with their next digital to have that, because they have that similar type system on their hybrid line.
Yeah, and so you're able to you know, run audio into these instruments and then play it off the soundboard. So you're able to kind of manipulate sounds in a different, unique way. So which makes it a real fun thing for an in-home studio or something that you're trying to experiment with. So yeah, 53 voices on the CLP, and then that 480 kind of XG voices, 96 voices on the CA901. Again, the 901 has the more recent updates to the sound system. Not to say that it's better, or it's just they have a newer. And they also updated the Bluetooth on it, so it's like version 5, the most recent Bluetooth version on the 901, as well as they created a DAC audio converter, digital analog conversion with a specific filter for piano. So they developed their own
filter.
Yeah, filter. So if you're running it out of the CA901, it's a premium output. You know,
Gotcha.
they specifically designed it for pianos and for hi-fi
And both
fidelity.
of these models have the ability to use an app for their alterations and changes and the renderings on it.
Yeah,
as well.
so both are fantastic instruments. Again, it's one of those players' preferences. I would say the 901 is a newer product, and there are some really nice features that come along with being made in the last year versus made in the last 5+ years. And so we do really well with both these models. But I would say the Kawai probably.
It might be a little bit more desirable if you're more of a traditional piano player, because we've even had some hardcore keyboard players that have played nothing but digital pianos, and they're not really ones to go after acoustics, but when they come in and play on it, and they think that really does make a difference. They can tell the difference, not just in the feel, but how you respond to playing by having that sound be more like a real piano.
Yeah, and I think you had spoken to Kawai. Their banner statement is we're trying to make the best, and they believe they do. They make the best action and the best price point on everything at every price point that they make. And so both are fantastic instruments. Again, if you've owned a CLP, one of the 85s before, whether it's the 785 or the 685 before or the 585, please leave comments. Those were all very successful flagship products from Clavinova, from Yamaha. If you've owned the Concert Artist series, the 901 or the 99 or the 98 before it, please leave comments. Why did you choose those? What impressed you more than the competition? Why did you end up going with X or Y? We'd love to start those discussions, and hopefully we can be helpful. If you have any questions, please give us a call. We'd love to talk about it, but please leave comments so others can see your opinion. I think that matters to people trying to make a purchasing decision, and we can help people make the right decision. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.